Hey everybody, it's Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today I have a very exciting abstract floral painting to share with you. I'm going to show you how you can create this gorgeous, colorful floral abstract yourself at home, step by step. To help me do this is my husband, John.
Hello.
He makes sure that one of our robotic cameras is actually pointed at or zoomed in on the techniques that I'm teaching, the tools that I'm using, and the things that I'm explaining so that you can create this at home. I really feel like what you can see, you can follow along with as long as I'm explaining it and you're seeing it, you can do it. Now, I don't expect you to draw. I am going to freehand this all out, but there is a traceable in the description down below. If when I start putting the flowers, you're like, I don't feel like freehanding them, that's okay. I've got that for you. It's just completely free for download. Though I'm going to tell you, it actually was pretty easy today. You might want to go for the whole thing. This is part of a 31-day painting challenge where from August 1st to August 31st, we get together every single day and do a new painting that builds on skills day after day after day, so that on August 31st, you can come in and do this gorgeous 3-hoop painting that I have for you guys. So if that's exciting for you, be sure and check out that playlist and the other paintings in that challenge. If you're here for the challenge, thank you so much for being here. If you have questions, be sure and put those all in caps for the live chat. But if you're here on the replay, just put them in regular font. You can do them in caps or not caps in the thing below, and I will try to get to them as I can. I do check my YouTube channel every day to answer questions. Now, there's nothing to do but get our paint, get our brushes, which is in the description down below. Come back and meet me at Thistle right now. I'm really going to show you for real how you can paint this. So for today's materials, I've got an 8x8 canvas. This particular canvas is the Art Alternatives Classic Cotton, which is, I really like that, but you can use whatever you have. On my palette, I have the colors Mars Black, Phthalo Green, Cad Yellow Medium, Cad Red Medium, Quinacridone Magenta, Ultramarine Blue, Phthalo Blue, Dioxazine Purple, Titanium White. This weird little gloop right here is satin glazing liquid. You could use satin or the gloss for this. What this does is slows down the drying time of my paint and allows me to do glazing and extend how long the color goes for. So that's why I like to use it. And I may also, for some fine detailing, pull out my fluid acrylic later. But if you don't have that, you just thin the white that you have. All right, there's nothing to do but just hop on into it. Hopping on in. Gonna start having fun. 2-step 1. I'm going to take a 1-inch oval mop. This is the Princeton Select 1-inch oval mop. I'm going to go ahead and put a little glazing liquid in there just so that the paint isn't drying into the brush. I'm going to grab a smidge of yellow and get just some white into it. And then I'm going to come right here in my canvas and brush up and down. Brushing right, brushing a little bit left. Then I'm going to come into my pink. And I'm going to come here and brush over. Brushing, brushing, brushing down a little bit. So I'm working wet into wet. I'm going to rinse out. Rinse out very thoroughly. I'm going to grab a little bit of my white and my glazing liquid, and I'm going to brush down from the top. A little bit of pink. Now wipe my brush off on my towel. Brush down into my yellow. So we're moving fairly quickly to get these transitions. I'm going to take a little bit of my phthalo blue, little phthalo green together, kind of making a turquoise, like you do. We get some white involved and some glazing liquid. And brush over into that a little bit. Across here. Coming down. And brush across. Get a little more glazing liquid in it if I need to. A little more blue. And brush this up this side, kind of creating a little bit of the first purple dusting. Brush that across. I'm going to rinse out thoroughly. Get all the pigment out. And come here and get some more yellow on my brush. And I'm going to brush down a little bit into this phthalo blue-green. Be up here a little. So we're just really creating some drama. Start pulling in some drama.
That's good.
Right? Some nice, irregular little kind of going there. Now, if I want to blend everything here, while it's all still wet, I can take a dry brush and go over what I have. And it will soften everything just a little for my next layer. See how that's a little bit moody?
I do.
That's the two brush method. So it's where you have two soft brushes. You do one where you paint it all on and one brush where you slightly blend it. That's why I like to keep several oval mops here. Now, to do anything else, I'm going to want this layer to completely dry. So we're going to dry this thoroughly with a hairdryer. You're going to push pause while you dry on me, and then you hit play when you're done drying, and that will keep us painting together. So let's dry our canvas. So this is a pretty complex background. It takes a couple layers to get. I'm going to get back into my 1-inch Princeton Select oval mop. I'm going to go ahead and get some more glazing liquid into it to prevent the paint from drying on the brush. Because sometimes when you're working an area for a long time, it will totally dry paint on the brush. I'm going to take a little bit of white and yellow together. I'm going to come right back here into this spot and blend a little bit of this here. And maybe a little bit down here. Then we're going to take some red and yellow together, and we're going to make some orange. And we're going to brush in just a couple little spots coming down of orange. And I'm going to want to rinse out. I'm going to get a little bit of my white and pink together. More glazing liquid if I need it. I'm going to come through here and brush a few pink downward motions. Couple here, maybe with a little more white. So see how we're creating a bunch of drama with our colors. I can brush back up, and that kind of creates a feathering of line. And come here with a little bit of white. And just brush that down. Just sort of an abstract background that we're building in. I'm going to rinse out. Now I'm, interestingly enough, going to get a little of my blue and dioxazine purple together. This is my phthalo blue and dioxazine purple. And I'm going to brush up from the bottom. Get some glazing liquid if I need it. Come up the side. Brush down across. Darkening up this lower side. See how we've darkened it up?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to rinse out. And I keep wiping my brush off on my towel over here just to keep the water from being too powerful with it. I'm going to take a little of my my Dox purple. And I'm going to grab some white. Get a nice light purple. And brush that down between the pink and the blue. Get some white into here. Brush that through. Very dramatic. Rinse out. So this is a complex background. We work hard to get here. Rinsing out my brush and drying it off.
It's a really pretty background.
It's super pretty. I'm going to put some more glazing liquid right here. Just because I don't want the paint to dry on my brush. I'm going to grab a little bit of my phthalo green and mix it in with my phthalo blue, creating that turquoise again. Let's get a lot of white and a little glazing liquid. And we're going to come right here, brush down and across lightly a little bit of this turquoise. Let's take a little bit of turquoise over here and brush it down. Kind of staggered, brushing it down. A little more white. There we go. Just a little bit of stagger there. Maybe a couple little spots right here. Staggering that down. Rinsing. Okay, now we're going to want to dry everything, and I'll show you what we do when we come back. So now I'm going to want to come back into my orange. I'm still taking my 1-inch oval mop, and I'm going to get some nice bright orange here. And I'm going to just brush down over the blue a bit, just to kind of blend that back. I might add a little bit up here. See how we've got the colors that they travel around the composition. They have places, multiple places in here that they are.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and also take a little bit of my glazing liquid into my brush, grab some white, and maybe a smidge of yellow. Come down here and lighten this up through here. Brushing that down. This will help this area feel a little bit like dramatic lighting, even though it's abstracted by creating this bright keyhole of light. We're telling a story of very dramatic lighting here. Now, the other way to tell the story about dramatic lighting is we've got to get our dark in. So I'm going to rinse out my brush, dry it off again with my towel because I don't want extra in here. Take my glazing liquid, a little bit of my Doc's purple, a little bit of my phthalo blue. These two together make kind of a deep indigo. Come right down here. And then I'm just going to come across here. Now I want to take a dry brush of my 1-inch oval mops. I'm just doing my dry brush again and kind of blend this out.
That's really cool.
I'm wiping off on my towel. And then I'm going to take a little bit of my glazing liquid. Come here with a little of my Doc's purple. I'm going to use just the corner of my brush. This is sort of making some little irregular shapes. Going to rinse out both brushes. I'm going to take a clean one. I'm going to get a little bit of my phthalo blue and phthalo green again together with a little bit of white. And just make sure that some of my turquoise and then I'm going to take a little bit right here. Just down a little bit. Just a hint of turquoise. Now I'm going to want to dry everything, rinse out my brushes, squeeze the extra water out of them. Definitely using them hardcore. And listen, you're like, what if I don't have as many brushes as that? I have had to dry my brushes with the hair dryer.
It happens, yeah.
Right? So that I always have one that's dry and one that's ready to go. So sometimes it is a thing. And then you have to remember you might have another soft brush that'll work, like a soft fan or something. So don't feel like if you don't have that exact thing that you can't get there. Just be agile in there and be like, ooh, where's that soft fan that I can't use for heavy bodied acrylic painting, but now I can use it for blending. So if you got one of those in a set and you didn't get one and you don't have the round blender, that might be a nice alternate option for you. All right, I'm going to dry this with my hair dryer. Now I'm going to take a number 6 sepia round. I just want a nice tight round brush. I'm going to take my phthalo blue over to my dioxazine purple. And I'm going to come right here almost to the top. And I'm going to just draw little tiny marks that are going to be the basis of my flower. It's going to get the whitest right about here. Just painting this background shadow with my Docs purple and my phthalo blue. And just paint a little stem down. And then a little bit of growth up. There we go. Phthalo blue, Docs purple, deep indigo. Let's paint another little sort of flower here. And also kind of maybe just sketch it down. And let there be just a little curve in there. Little stems coming off here. Little stems. This is a fun little floral.
It's beautiful. I like how it just sort of, it's a, what's the word? Kind of abstractish.
It is very abstracted. Abstracted floral. We could have done this in the year we did abstract painting. See, just kind of zipping down and creating the shape of the flower there. Now I'm going to come here. Very lightly pull this into this space here. Little stems coming off. Like that very, very much.
Yeah, I like that too.
All right. Now, once I have that in, I'm going to dry everything. I'll come back. I'll show you what we do next. So now I'm going to take a little bit of my ultramarine blue and my quinacridone magenta, and I'm going to make kind of a Merlot purple, right? It's definitely a purple, but it's got a little bit more red in it. Add a smidge of white.
That's nice color.
It's a very lovely color, and I'm going to come in to the left side of these, just pressing in a little bit. It's dark. Your eye can see it, but it's definitely going to be hard for the camera to pick up.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Just pulling some of this down, this color. Just making sure my flower has some dimensionality. A little more white. Now a lot of white, maybe a little more pink. Even lighter. Just a couple little spots that show that this flower is in some little light. Just a little bit there. So this is a way of painting complex flowers without, having to paint every single little dip or lip. And we'll rinse, 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 rinse. And then we're going to dry everything thoroughly. So I've got to add some light in here so I can come back and put some shadow in. I'm going to take my oval mop and a little bit of my phthalo green and phthalo blue and a ton of my titanium white, some glazing medium if I need it. I'm going to just make sure I brush down a little bit here. I'm going to rinse out, just kind of bringing a little drama back into it. Grab a little bit of my yellow orange. Little peak there. And a little marks there. It's not too much.
Yeah.
I need to put some little bit up there. So dancing it around. All right. I think that's good. I think that's very good. I'm going to need to dry everything, though, to do the fine line work that I'm going to need to do. So let's dry everything with our hairdryer and come back, and I'll show you what we do next. So now I'm going to take my number 6 round, my Raphael sepia, and I'm going to bring some water over to my black paint, and I'm going to thin it, mixing in the water, right? You can see how I'm incorporating the water into the paint. I'm going to roll this out and just get the lightest load I can. So what I want is I don't want a whole bunch of paint blowing out my brush, making it all fat. And then I'm going to come here. Adding a little bit of plant lines. And then we're going to bring some stems down this way. We do this first, and then we're going to come up with like a lovely little highlight. I'm going to want to bring a little branch out this way, but I'm going to turn it so I have a nice curve. Now once I have it laid in, I can easily come in and do it. So sometimes it's hard to get a good curve. And we're just doing lots of little lines down here to sort of talk about plants, making it feel botanical. Now this is going to be hard to see until we put the highlights on. Just little branches out. Just putting in those little leafy, branchy moments, twiggly bits. Twiggly bits are wonderful.
Yeah. I like how they all come in there and just sort of create the shape.
Just little branches down. All right. Once you have all your little black lines in, you're going to want to dry very thoroughly with your hairdryer and come back. I'll show you how to do the highlights. Now I'm going to want to take my golden fluid acrylic and I'm going to put it over by my turquoise. You can use your white and thin it with water. And I will also put out a little more white because I know I'm going to need some clean white for my pink poppies later. So I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to grab my number 6 sepia round. Bring some yellow up into my turquoise color. So it's quite yellow-green, very vintage looking. And now I'm going to get my very white paint involved in that. I'll load up a little light color, and it needs to be lighter than the background color. So this is where I'm, oh, yep. So we're just going to go over some of these with this light color. Maybe turn to the side a little bit. Little pull-ins. Kind of like pulling in little stems and little leaves. See how that just pops that there? Sometimes I like to just find my moment. Just pulling in these little leaf structures. Very sketchy.
Yeah.
Just finding little sketches.
Yeah, it looks cool.
And the nice light color really pops against the background. Just putting these little light leaves where I feel like they're going to have the most impact. Going to make some really dramatic ones right here. sure my tapes are where they go in the corners. Face my tapes. Just little marks going back. There we go. So now we have this nice sort of greenery that we've implied here. There we go, all the way down. Nice little sprigs. So we're going to want to dry everything, and when we come back, I will show you what we do next. So now I'm going to want to put in some bright poppies. I'm going to take my white paint, maybe a little of my glazing liquid, over to my pink. And I'm going to paint in some lovely pink poppy shapes. So I'm going to come right here. I'm going to just paint the shape of a petal. That's one petal. There's another little petal. Just a little bit to start. And come right here. Curve this one a little bit. And this one I may have to come back in with some petals and like layer it over. And this one I'm going to come over here and layer this way. Let's put in another little one down here. And then a couple little some little bits of pink here and there. Just a little bit. Now I'm going to want to dry everything. When we come back, I'll show you what we do next. So I'm going to come back in. I'm going to grab a little more of my quinacridone onto my brush. And I'm going to add a brighter pop of pink right here. Get a little white onto my brush and paint a little bit darker. Then I'll go ahead and get a little of my light involved. Just go ahead and pop a little bit there. Maybe a little bit there. A little bit here. So we've just got the little shape. I'm going to paint a little bit of a highlight right here. A little bit right there, just popping up the color. Little pops of color.
Those are really pretty pops of color, though. I like it.
Yeah, we're getting there. Now, again, unfortunately, we've got a layer to get the next layer on. So we've got to dry. And come back, I'll show you the next layer. So while we're here, I'm going to take a little bit of, it's interestingly enough, I'm going to take a little of my black. And I'm going to come in and put black in the center of the flower to begin with. And a little bit of black right here, kind of, and an ellipse. A little bit right there. I'm going to rinse out. Grab some more pink on my brush, let it go into the white, but so that it stays pink, but it's a little bit darker. I'm going to come here and paint the folded up petal. Just a little bit of that folded up petal. Going to rinse that out. While this is having a dry, I'm going to take a very small detail brush. I'm going to take a number 0 precision. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can really see what I'm doing. And I'm going to grab a little bit of white on here. I'm going to very carefully come around the edges of my little petal here. The lines kind of coming out. Uh-oh, I smudged my petals.
How does that happen?
Too much water, I think, in the paint, and it wasn't drying.
Oh, I see, yeah.
So what I've got to do is I've got to come put it back and then probably dry it with my hair dryer. I'll dry that with my hair dryer real quick just so I'm not smudging it while I'm doing the white lining. So I normally wouldn't, but I'm going to here. Anytime you're dragging your hand through paint or the painting is just going against you, sometimes drying it gives you that anchoring position that you need. Okay, I'm going to continue on with my white paint now that everything is dry. I'm bringing these little lines out, sort of shaping the petals. I can also turn the canvas for this. Paint the little details out on these flowers so that they look nice. And a little bit here. And I just bring that around here so that kind of curve, see that kind of curves it into the forward facing space. Just lining it. And I'm going to make the little lines coming out, highlights in the centers. And then again, that kind of rolled petal. A little bit in that center. A little bit of white touch on the little pink buds. Just a little bit of a white touch. Just a little.
I like that. That adds to it.
Now I'm going to take a little bit of my cad red and my cad yellow together. Kind of loosely mixed. Add a little bit of that pop of color over the dark center. And let's look at that overhead. Okay, I am going to want to dry that. When we come back, I'll show you what we do next. So I'm going to want to take my glazing liquid and a little bit of my just pure pink and my smallest detail brush, and I'm going to come along this little petal. And do a little bit of a darkening in the center. And separating out the petals. Just a little bit on this one. A little bit here, just a little contrast. So the white's still there, but we're just putting an extra little dimension of shadow down here. Make sure that this is nice dark pink. It's turned in. And then very carefully just a little bit in the pop of that center. play with it till it feels like very flowery to me. So it has nice dimensionality. I'm going to rinse real quick, and I'm going to take a little bit of white and yellow. White and yellow. And come in here and just pop one last little highlight.
Just that extra little touch.
Just a little bit. Just to give those centers a little sparkle. All right. Then I've got to decide how to sign my signature, and I'm going to do it in the leaf color because I think that will look the best for the overall painting.
Yeah, I think so.
Just a little floral before we do the last big one of the whole series.
So cool.
There we go. Nice signature today. Like it when the signature comes out and does not pull away from the whole painting.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this was fun. When we come back, I'll tell you what we do next. So now that we have completed this fun, abstract, colorful floral, I mean, this is like great for your eyes, great for your spirit, just a lot of fun to paint. And it's when I really love doing these types of florals. I did 1 whole month of florals for Acrylic April once. And I liked the little sprigs and arrangements of flowers quite a lot. So I'm glad to be revisiting that thought today. And I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.
Yeah.
You know, it's just fun to see the different ways that you can express yourself about a different subject matter. There's a lot of ways to paint flowers beyond just painting the flowers themselves, and a lot of ways to talk about lighting. We have some really dramatic lighting in here, even though this is an abstract painting. So that other part is fun. And now I want to see your version of today's wonderful painting. I want to see how yours came out.
Yeah.
So you would go online and share the hashtag the Art Sherpa or hashtag Acrylic August, since we're doing the challenge in August this year. And that would help me see that. Also, there are 2 groups, the Acrylic April group on Facebook and the Art Sherpa official group on Facebook. Those are both well-populated, kind, curated groups where we approve posts and we don't let spam or selling or any of that ick stuff that happens on Facebook happen in those groups. It's just art and art-related things all of the time. Great place to share your art hauls, and like if you went out and bought a bunch of art materials and you just want to tell everybody about it, you can come by and tell us. We will be excited for you because we also like to go art shopping for tons of art materials. That being said, if you like the art materials in today's show, I have these all for sale in my art store. So that's something we have now, is an art store, and it's got canvases, the canvases like I used today, the paints that I used today, the brushes that I used today. It's a great place to find those resources if you're looking for them. And I feel like we do good prices. I really do. I feel like we are really thoughtful about it. Yeah, we really spend some time like getting together and just making sure that they are as reasonable as we can possibly do, based on how the price we get them for. So I think it's a great store, and I would love you to check that out. Awkward self-promotion unlocked. That being said, thank you so much for your time today and your time for this challenge. Just thank you so much for your trust and your time. I want to pat you on the back for still being here. There's only 1 more day left to go if you're doing the Acrylic August challenge, and that's the big one, the one where we see how our skills have all come together to let us do a wonderful 3 hoot painting. So I hope you're going to show up tomorrow for the 31st day of the challenge. There's nothing for you to do but be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and I will see you at an easel real soon. Bye-bye.